What's up? It's the Fragrance Apprentice. Welcome to my top 10 fragrance beginners list. I've been wanting to do something like this for quite a while because as the fragrance community, especially on YouTube, grows larger and larger, there is such an abundance of information, but perversely the more information that there is, the more confusing and difficult it can be to just get everything that you want, especially when you're just starting out. If you are just starting out, if you're new to fragrance, my goodness, you've got so much to look forward to. And by that, George, I presume you mean the amount of bitches I'm going to be sleeping with. No, mostly bankruptcy and existential crises. And notice I said existential crises, not crisis. But yeah, there is so much out there, and as I said, it can be actually quite difficult. In fact, there's a book that I'd recommend if you're interested in psychology. It's called The Paradox of Choice, and basically the general gist of it is the more choice you have of something, the harder it is for your brain to comprehend and process all of the different things and all the different choices. So I've got 10 fragrances, and I've tried to make this list as objective as possible and as widespread as possible. There are a few hints and flares of things that I like. Obviously, all the fragrances I actually own, but I've really tried to clamp down and make this a video that will suit pretty much as many people as I possibly can. I really want to accommodate everybody because when I was starting out, it was a lot easier for me. You know, I started doing this and collecting nearly actually maybe even 8 years ago, and back then things were a lot simpler. Jeremy Fragrance wasn't around to get all of the young teenagers into this and make it a more profitable venture on reviewing fragrance in YouTube. There weren't as many reviewers. Things were a lot more straightforward, and I would bring that back down to earth for you. A comment that I want to make here is this isn't like a 10 to 1 list where 10 is lesser and 1 is the greatest. It's actually a 1 to 10, and it's more like a volume knob, as in number 1 is the simplest, most plainest fragrance I could start you off on your fragrance journey, and we're going to gradually get a little bit more intricate, a little bit more, dare I say, maybe not advanced, because that isn't this list, but a little bit more complicated, a little bit more daring as we go along. There's going to be a gradual progression into the world of fragrance to number 10, which is probably the most out there fragrance that you could maybe go for if you were a beginner. So let's get started with my number 1 pick. So my number 1 is Dolce & Gabbana's Light Blue Eau Intense. Don't get Dolce & Gabbana's Light Blue, it's just nothing. It's the Bud Light of fragrances. It smells as though somebody's filtered it through 2 of their kidneys. It's just nothing, it's water. It sucks. But this is quite nice, very straightforward, very good, simple, casual summer fragrance that I've actually got a review of coming out soon because I've actually been wearing this quite a lot this summer. Yes, people who have got 150 plus bottles in their collection do actually sometimes go for more casual renditions of fragrances just to do it and just to keep everything flowing. And as I say in the review, and as I mentioned in a couple of videos, I'm doing a lot more socializing, I'm doing a lot more networking with my filmmaking at the moment. I'm having to meet a lot of people, so sometimes fragrances like this do really help. So moving up, we go to Thierry Mugler, and this is Mugler Cologne. Really, really just straightforward soapy grass, you know, but it just works. People like it. Perfect for a day like this where it's quite warm, pushing 23, 24, and that's fantastic. It really smells good. It's a fragrance that still can stick out and be very, very unique in its own way, so much so that Mugler are now doing more colognes. But when you smell that, that is just fab. Mugler Cologne is just great and a lovely, fun, casual, green, grassy, soapy fragrance. That's a great way to start your collection. So number 3 selection is Prada's L'Homme. So we're going soapier. You know, we've gone to the soap, now we're going to go straight to the bubble bath. We're advancing. So Prada are known, especially in their men's range, for producing soapy, bubble bath like fragrances There's a lot of cotton, there's a lot of linen, there's a lot of freshly washed sheets or freshly dried sheets. That is a lot of their collection, and this is a great roundabout way of introducing yourself into that and into that world of very, very cleanly fragrances. And it's not too expensive, it's a regular designer price. Honestly, if the price of this scares you, just don't get into fragrance, honestly, because that's, you know, usually about 50, 60, 70 pounds for a decent designer. That's the regular take. Although a fragrance that has gone down in price has got to be La Malle, and that's been because it's been reformulated. What we're on now, we're on 4. Number 4 is La Malle by Jean-Paul Gaultier. The thing is it's super casual and it's just super likable, and again, it's clean. A lot of these fragrances, when you're beginning, you just got to go for the clean fragrances. The brief for Francis Kojan was, we want a clean man who knows what he's doing and is confident, and that is it. That is it to the T. That's why he's gone down as one of the greatest perfumers in the history of fragrance. It basically gives you everything that you could ever want out of fragrance, especially when you're beginning. It's casual, people love it, people adore it, people give you compliments. And now that it's been reformulated and isn't as boomy and as crazy as it once was, you can wear this casually in the daytime as well. Number 5, I'm gonna say this is one of my favorite fragrances of all time. It still stands up today, it still holds up. I mean, I still am in awe of it. I still consider this to be a living legend. My good friend Killer Frags reminded me the other day, he was like, I saw that top 10 that you did where you said, it's one of the greatest smells you've ever smelt. It's even better than hot dinners. Which I said on one of my summer top 10s. This is Allure Sport. It has to be smelt to be believed. Genuinely. It has to be worn to be believed. I mean, you know, it's fragrances like this is why I've got a freaking YouTube channel about it. It's why I'm weird about it. It's why I've got 150 bottles plus. It's why I'm still doing this. You know, you smell that, it's a completely different league, and it deserves all the credit. This is just fantastic if you want to up your game. You know, you've tried the cleaner, the good little light blues and all that kind of stuff, but if you want to really kick it up a notch, get this. And one of the cool things about this now is that everybody's looking to Aventus, everybody's looking to Sauvage, and people still forget about this a little bit, but it is unforgettable. It's iconic, and it's been out a number of years now, and it's still amazing. It's still one of the greatest fragrances I've ever smelt, and it's still pretty affordable. You get this for the whole of the spring and the summer, you are set. You can wear this pretty much anywhere that you want, but do not, and I repeat, do not wear this in a club. I tried wearing this in a club when I was 19. Didn't go down well. But if the price point is a little bit intimidating, if you're a little bit nervous about it and you're really just starting out and you like the sound of this, but you're like, yo, I just don't want to spend $70 to $100 or whatever it is in pounds, get Versace Pour Homme. It's very similar. It's not identical. It has a difference, but they are similar. This still has the star power. There is no question to me. This is a piece of art, but this is fine. This is okay, and it'll give you a good general idea. And it'll still get you compliments, and it'll still get you attention. But yeah, if you really are a beginner and this is like your first video and you're like, yo, that Allure Sport sounds good, but dude, I've got to eat food, I'm in university, I need bills to pay, just give me a break. Versace's Pour Homme, and that is what I would say. So number 6 on my list, I know that I would get physically lynched by certain people if I didn't mention this fragrance. This is Acqua Profumo. Acqua by Giorgio Armani, and this is a really, really great fragrance. But this is kind of like Allure Sport to me is the superior fragrance, but this one is kind of pushing a little bit. This one's kind of pushing the boundaries. It's a little bit more mature, and it's got a little bit more spiciness that isn't as kind of likable universally, but it's still fantastic and still a tremendous compliment getter, you know, when you wear this. there's always going to be you know, good attention from it, but it's just a little bit more sophisticated. It's a little bit tiny, like the tiniest bit more daring than Allure Sport or Versace Port Homme, and it's just a really, really well respected and loved fragrance within the community. And you know, it's become a legend very quickly, and for a fragrance to become a legend so quickly within its career, because that can take a long time, that's a very, very impressive thing. And so Acqua Profumo, fantastic fragrance that you should definitely check out. So we've done 6 fragrances that are going to be universally loved and great, fresh, you know, citrusy, quiet fragrances. But I'm now going to start to push you a little bit into maybe something out of your comfort zone, and that's a gourmand-like fragrance. There are some of you who are going to try gourmands or chocolatey fragrances that immediately you're just going to be like, look, I get it, I totally get it, and that was actually me. And because of that, I've got a tremendous gourmand collection. But I'm actually going to bring up this guy right here. And now some people can look at this bottle and think certain thoughts, but you know, please don't. To me, this is a lava lamp. Kids, this is a lava lamp, right? But this is Rochas Man, or Rochas Man. I really, really adore this, but this is, for some people, this might be a little bit, for some men, it might be a little bit too feminine, because it does have quite a nice lavendery coffee. It's basically like a mocha with lavender, right? Hot chocolate with a coffee with lavender and vanilla, and some people might find that a little bit feminine. They might find that a little bit too metro for their liking. So I'm also going to bring up right here Pure Tonka by Thierry Mugler, Angel Men's Pure Tonka. I think that this is still readily available. It might be a little bit harder to find, but you do some digging, you'll find it. And these two are very similar, and they've got coffee in common. Now, this one, it does get more compliments, a lot more, actually. This one gets a frightful amount of attention, huge amount of attention. But for me, I just want to push this for you a little bit. But the resounding note is vanilla, coffee, a little bit of lavender. This is harsher, this has more of the angel DNA, which has a bit of tar, a bit of grit about it. So that has more of a masculine edge, and it's freaking cool. When I first smelled this, I was like, but I love Rochas and I love Bond No. 9's New Harlem. I don't know if this is blasphemy or if this is heresy. I'm not really getting it. Now I really, really appreciate this for what it is and what it's worth. It really does get a tremendous amount of attention if you're looking for that. So I'd say it's a tie. I'd say both of these need to be sought out, especially if you're a beginner, to see really what's out there and what's possible. But either Rochas Man or Mugler's Pure Tonka. So we're getting 7 now. I'm just going to bring this bad boy up. This is Ferragamo's Uomo or Uomo. Very different for what Salvatore Ferragamo, the company that made this, did at the time. This was quite something special, and I still don't feel as though it's got the love and the hype that it deserves, but this gets a tremendous lot of attention. It's got this tiramisu. I don't get that totally. I get really, really good old-fashioned woods with a good amount of chocolate and like a good amount of sort of like, I don't know, I want to say nut, like peanut, but it's not that. It's a certain type of nut, probably like cashews or almonds, is something that I get from this, like an almondy kind of smell with the chocolates in the woods. It's incredible. I adore it so much. I've worn it so much, as you can clearly see, and it's just got a real casual likability, which when you're a beginner you really, really want to go after. But I couldn't recommend this anymore if I tried. So we're now on to number 9, and now we are pushing it a little bit. You know, I'd say that we are pushing the boundaries of a beginner fragrance. I still think that we're in that ballpark. I still think that we're in that remit. But this is Boss Boldude. Just an incredible fragrance, so much, because it's one of the greatest, honestly, it's one of the greatest flankers of all time. And I think that we're allowed to say that now. Now, fair enough, you've got the Angel Men's and they're crazy and amazing, but in the designer world, one of the best or one of the better flankers. I mean, I'm now thinking about it, and you've got Allure Homme Sport, you've got Dior Homme Intense. There's quite a lot. But this is on the fringes of greatness. Let's say that. It's definitely on the fringes of greatness when it comes to flankers, because if you're a fan of Hugo Boss bottled, to me, I did want to put that in here, but I think it's actually a bit too obvious, and I think that nowadays it's a little bit dated, and I want to push you a little bit. I'm like a fragrance trainer or whatever. I want you to lift, bro. I don't want you to just be lifting freaking 5 kg Boss bottled. I want you to do the 20 kg. I want you to put the 20 kg Boss bottled oud. Fight for it, right? So I want you to do that. I also do birthday parties, if anybody's wondering. So Boss bottled oud takes the DNA of Hugo Boss bottled and adds a really, really great solid woody oud that's in there, that's not too insane, not too intense, and it's just fab. Just fab. And if you're wanting something that's a little bit more daring, and if you're wanting a perfect kind of autumnal fragrance and you don't know where to start, you want a good casual daytime autumn colder weather fragrance, look no further than Boss bottled oud. Absolutely. And now on to number 10. Like I said, I did want to promise that I wanted to push and I wanted to go a little bit further, and I thought, what's the fragrance that I could push the furthest in the beginner realm and the beginner remit and still kind of get away with it? Oh, you know, a fragrance where you're like, okay, but that is pushing it. And so I settled upon this. This is Tom Ford's Ombre Leather. Now, I have a friend called Joseph, who was in the Colours video. He's a great friend of mine, and he's been very, very supportive of my fragrance journey. Bro, I love you so, so much, you know that. And what surprised me is that when I took him fragrance shopping for the first time, he actually did like the darker stuff. He liked the more rugged stuff. And that was unusual for me. I thought to myself, oh right, I thought that people who were just getting into it would be used to the kind of the mass market, you know, Western types of fragrances, such as like Blue, O Intense, and all that good stuff that I showed you previously. And there are mostly people who just want that, but he wanted something that was a little bit darker and a little bit manlier and a little bit edgier, even from the get-go and even from the start. So I had him in mind when I picked this out, and Joseph, mate, this one is for you. This is my new fragrance I would recommend to you, Ombre Leather. When I first smelled Tuscan leather, I thought, Jesus Christ, that smells like somebody's clearing out soot. But I liked it, but I wanted something calmer and more wearable, and something that I would, you know, I could put on but wasn't being choked out by. And so Ombre Leather successfully has got the Tuscan leather DNA, but tones it right down to its bare minimum, just turns the volume all the way down and gives you the more pleasant aspects, the more mainstream appealing aspects of Tom Ford's Tuscan leather. And when I smelt this, I was like, fantastic. If only I could have started here. And Tom Ford are continuing to do crazy stuff, but they're looking out for the little guy like yourself if you are a beginner. And so this is probably the most advanced beginner fragrance I could share with you. Anyway, if you're a beginner, hi, my name's George. If you liked this list, I do videos pretty much every day at the moment. It wasn't what I expected at all, but I am kind of doing videos every day, and I can help you out in your fragrance journey. So leave us a like and hit subscribe for future videos. If you liked the beginner video selection and you want more, I have more. And I could very, very easily do a top 10 intermediate. I could very, very easily do a top 10 advanced until the cows come home. So leave your feedback in the comments. Anyway, I'm the Fragrance Apprentice. I'll see you tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed the list. Hope you got the information that you wanted. Cheers. I'm out.